stay here any longer. Not now. I have to sort this out on my own. Without the council. And without you. This isn't about you. I can't stay here any longer. Not now.
Unseen for generations, a Dyad in the Force.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Dyad in the Force, episode 56. In what started as a slow week, as my Dyad just mentioned, we are in the thick of it. Into the thick of it.
Yeah, time makes fools of us all.
Yeah. Shout out to everyone who's in the chat right now. St. Pat, X-Word Gamer Skills, Loading Great Storm, Connor, Robert Kenobi, Mentally Ill Sith Lord, 56 more like 56. Huh? Is there something that I'm missing? Oh man, Darth Choco is... I think I have the wrong codex set, so we will...
Oh,
Rectify
I turned
that.
into a potato.
Yeah, you did. You turned into the AI art that people have been posting.
You know what?
There you
Sometimes you just gotta go all, MC Escher on them. They just, you don't know what hit them.
Yeah. I mean, some of the art
I
that
pulled a
people have been...
Dagobah and said, let's Van Gogh. Get it? I'm sorry.
Hello, Cal. Hello, Mabe. Hello, Brooke. Thank you for tuning in. Some of the things that people are posting as AI art, actually, it looks really good. I think the best that I've seen is an Ahsoka one that, like, just... Her color palette is so amazing. Like orange, whites, blue, and it just kind of created this work of art, I'd say.
Yeah, some of them look really cool. I've also seen some of them that look really bad and people still post them. Like, no.
Now
I don't quite know where it's coming from, though.
Yeah, I'm interested to do my own, but I'm wondering if you have the correct mic set.
That's a good question.
It does sound okay, but there's a little bit more echo or reverb than normal.
Yes, I do have the correct mic set. How am I sounding now?
It sounds better. Okay. So we have a lot to talk about this week. We have a new High Republic game. We're going to talk about some Wookiee Jedi. We have some Fallen Star excerpts, Mission to Disaster excerpt, which I have not read, so we're probably going to read them live. Have you read them?
I read the Fallen Star one, but
Yeah,
I'm reading the other one right now.
we're gonna read them live so everyone is on the same page. Hello to Podwands Podcast Luke. Shout out to the Podwands Podcast, and shout out to Far Far Away Factory as well, Brooke. Etsy.com/Far Far Away Factory. And then we're going to talk about Rogue Squadron. I mean, like, everything was at the start of this week, and we just ended with just a boon of Star Wars news. What's up, Direct Damask? Is that like a play on Damask? Is that
Ooh. Damask Holdings. Like, I legitimately looked into like creating an LLC by that name.
Yeah.
That's when nerds are like adults, it's weird. We get weird.
Yeah. It's not going to be a long podcast because I'm going to drive this bus, or I'm going to drive this vehicle in an efficient manner. This is what we're trying to do here. We're trying to like tighten up the things and keep in schedule.
It's not a regular bus. It's the one that takes you to the leaky cauldron so fast that muggles can't see you.
Yeah. Call out to Choco's first viewing of Prisoner of Azkaban last night, it's your favorite so far?
Indeed.
And
Mostly because of Ben Barnes.
we're gonna have to make sure that the dyad continues, because Goblet is the next one, and Goblet is my favorite. So we shall see if that holds true. Connor says, "Shut up! You done a Harry Potter reference." He gone done Harry Potter reference. Let's see here. That's what the Dyad Studio company should be called. The Dyad Studio, DBA, Damask Holdings. No, Damask Holdings, DBA, Dyad Studio. I think, yeah, that's the right order. I'm wondering what's happening with Rogue Squadron because I heard it was canceled. Yes, we will discuss that. And the last segment, of course, Amandla Stenberg and the possibility that she may be leading Acolyte. It's all coming together right here on Dyad in the Force. And but before we move on, we need to address the elephant in the room, because we are going to be discussing Star Wars Eclipse. And that elephant in the room is the allegations against David Cage and his co-CEO, Guillaume. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce the rest of that name, but it is his co-CEO. And I want to speak candidly about this because I cannot minimize the veracity of the allegations, and the implications of them are severe. So I've done extensive research on this matter following the announcement to better understand the situation. And I feel it would be dishonest of me and irresponsible of me to commit 100% in either direction without all of the information at hand. Because misinformation can go both ways and be misused by anyone. So with that said, I'm going to read my briefing on this that I wrote in the midst of my investigation. So it seems to be that a lot of people are taking the headline and going all in on it. And I would encourage everyone to do their own research and reach their own conclusions. I'm not here to proselytize or tell you how to feel about the game or the company or David Cage. But as we do with most headlines in the Star Wars community, we must be vigilant. I've gone over the case briefings and verdicts, and GamesBeat did a very thorough article covering both sides of the cases, and has even spoken to 16 current employees at Quantic Dream. The story begins with a lead programmer at Quantic Dream who had created a photo montage during his lunch break that involved photoshopping colleagues onto bodies of celebrities. That programmer honored requests by colleagues who wished not to be included, but on February 27th, 2017, the employee had shared all of the montages and images across the studio, but had inadvertently shared 12 that were inappropriate. Among the victims was the company's IT manager, whose face was pasted on a reality TV show character, Super Nanny. And Cage says in response, quote, "We also discovered other images that were never shared and that we had never seen before, which were totally unacceptable," end quote. The employee was ordered to stop and apologize to the aggrieved and was given a disciplinary sanction or warning that could lead to termination, and records of this were provided for the investigating bodies. The IT manager declined to comment on the story, but later the IT manager threatened to tell the story to the press unless they were compensated with 1 year salary plus 40%. Cage comments, quote, "We tried to talk. We offered a neutral mediator, which he accepted first, then refused. We tried to find solutions, but he rejected all options," end quote. The IT manager then sent the 12 pictures to Le Monde, Mediapart, and Canard PC. All publications ran with articles claiming toxic behavior at Quantic Dream and deteriorating workplace conditions, as well as financial malpractice. In terms of the financial malpractice, 1 American and 2 French tax control audit companies, as well as a French governing body, URSSAF, was tapped to do an independent audit. They all reported that the company was well managed and had not done anything illegal in terms of financials. Now, this is where the defamation lawsuits come in. In a second hearing in 2019, a labor court judge ruled that the plaintiff, the IT manager, quote, "did not provide evidence of a deterioration of working conditions within the company, and the production of press articles were insufficient to establish these facts," end quote. So it's interesting to note that a few weeks before the incident in question, employees had their annual interviews with their leads and HR reps, in which they reported, quote, "pleasant working atmosphere," end quote. Regarding the defamation lawsuit, Cage had arrived with 40 current and former employee testimonies in support of the company. 5 were allowed to testify. Mediapart and Pixel Le Monde had 4 witnesses, 3 of them being the journalists who wrote the articles. Among Quantic Dream's witnesses were ex-employees and a union representative. As to the toxic workplace conditions, PeopleVox was hired to do an independent and anonymous investigation surveying current employees through their platform and reported 96% positive workplace. GamesBeat interviewed 16 members of Quantic Dream staff in response over Skype. One employee says, quote, "We tried to stay positive in the shitstorm. You become depressed. We are passionate about making games," end quote. Adam Williams, lead writer, says, quote, "I remember the allegations of a toxic culture ahead of Detroit's release. The idea that allegations like that might be used cynically by a member of the media was quite upsetting to me," end quote. Open quotes again. "It makes it harder for people who have really gone through these things to get the correct level of attention and be taken as seriously as they should be," end quote. Lisa Penn's vice president of marketing at Quantic Dream concurred and said, quote, "I asked Guillaume about the allegations against the studio in my very first interview, and he was really honest with me about the reality of life in the studio. I feel I took a risk in coming here because of what I had read about the studio, but I decided to trust my own gut, and every day of my life I am so thankful," end quote. So, okay, as of now we have Cage, Guillaume versus Le Monde, Pixel, and Mediapart. Cage and Guillaume have won 1 libel case and has lost against Mediapart. The third is pending a hearing. So, in conclusion, this is a very highly complex case, and there's absolutely no way to validate or invalidate the claims of Cage saying, quote, "We don't make games for F-slurs," end quote, as Le Monde refused to expose their witnesses. Whether or not that is because they don't exist or it is truly for their protection, I cannot be sure. But there is ample evidence that, thus far, that the workplace condition reports have been a product of an aggrieved employee seeking to extort the company for money. So I would advise everyone to, at the very least, not conflate any allegations still pending against Cage and Guillaume with the studio as a whole Quantic Dream. Personally, I choose to support the game for the workers at both Lucasfilm Games and Quantic Dream Games, or Quantic Dream, whose livelihoods depend on the success of this game. I have friends who personally work to this day on games in which the creator has been vehemently disowned, but it's their jobs. They have families to support. So whether or not the game is good is another matter of subjectivity. The silver lining in all of this is it is a joint collaboration between Lucasfilm Games and Quantic Dream, so I am hoping and assuming that the story portion is being done by Lucasfilm and Quantic is handling the game. And so that's as much information I have on this matter. Choco, do you have any thoughts?
I mean, it's tough, and we tried to, since the main people that are affected by this, we don't belong to those groups. We try to get people on that could speak freely on it. So we're trying to be careful and empathetic and truly understand, what's going on. We just want to make it clear that, we'll support, our community here with whatever they decide, but to remember to always go to the source, read your sources, dig deep. It's easy to run on headlines, and just go deep.
So we did actually reach out to two creators who felt personally who felt personally affected by this story. Unfortunately, it was just too short of notice, and so they couldn't make it. So at the very least, what I'm trying to do when I'm providing all of this information and all of my investigation is that you guys don't hastily conflate the allegations with Quantic Dream themselves, because they are all comprised of very talented workers and passionate game developers who do not deserve the ire of people who feel aggrieved by Cage and Guillaume, regardless of whether or not the allegations are true. The allegations are still pending. They've won a case and they lost a case, and then there's a third case that is still ongoing. So with that said, I would love to shift things to a little bit more positive light.
Really?
We are going to talk about Star Wars Eclipse, but we are going to focus on the game itself. And we are very supportive of everyone who decides not to support this game. But we do have an announcement to make. In lighter note. So Vamp, while I get ready to make that announcement.
Yeah, and sorry, one last little piece on it. There was a nice post that was written by Claudia Says, letting people know, like, if you're tweeting about this and things like that, how to do it properly, and the hashtags to use. If you start tweeting at specific social media accounts, understand that there's a person behind that account who probably agrees with you, and they're just getting all of that crap. So that's the other part too, is we need to express our feelings in proper ways. But that being said, bigger and brighter things. Before the bigger and brighter things, I just wanted to highlight X-Core saying I'm not going to make a decision on this until we get some gameplay footage, and that is very fair. I've been rolled in the past by cinematics and them not living up to the cinematic potential or the story potential. Brooke says, and don't expect anything from the High Republic Story Group authors because they probably can't speak on it and speak out. Correct. And although it is a joint venture between Quantic Dream and Lucasfilm Games, we can assume that the story group is involved, but they're probably not going to comment on this specific thing.
So please do not harass anyone looking for answers. So, with that said, on to bigger and brighter things. Well, not bigger, but on to more positive matters. Dyad in the Force is partnering with Lucasfilm Publishing to host a giveaway. Now, this...
Sorry, Suki.
This
I woke her
here,
up.
this poster, we have 2 of these to give away to everyone. This is the Who Will Survive poster, and it's got Elzar, it's got Belle, it's got Lily, it's got Arkoff? Is that Arkoff or Boryaga?
It's hard to see. It looks like in the placement, it looks like it's going to be Lily's master.
It's got everyone in the High Republic you can possibly think of. Connor says, haha, may have already signed up for the giveaway, just scanning your description. Oh. That's what happens when you are, a sleuth like Connor. So I am going to give you guys the link right now to sign up for the giveaway. I will put it in the chat for you guys. But in case you are awesome at phonetics, it is seventhelement.net/giveaway. Sign up, and we will announce the winner next week on Dyad in the Force. 2 winners. We have 2 posters to give away. Okay, so
X-Core Gamer Show says, calling it now. Yoda survives.
Really?
I don't know about that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to see.
Yeah. So the rules of the giveaway, there's not really any rules. Really? I mean, I have set up the form to require a sign-in, so I'm hoping everyone enters legitimately through a legitimate account and they're not doing it double. But yeah, we're shipping to the US and UK. I'm not sure. We'll see how much it is to ship a poster to Asia, but it shouldn't be too much. But everyone's welcome to enter. There's no other rules, no purchase necessary, all of that good stuff. So moving on to Star Wars Eclipse. We are going to talk about this game, and I think a lot of people want to go over a couple of, do you have any frames that you would like to share with me that you've taken screenshots that you want to kind of analyze a little bit further?
Any specific frames? No, I mean there's a couple things that did pop out at me. One big one being that it looks like this game is going to focus a lot of its time on Jakku.
Is that Jakku?
Are we
or Batu?
Or sorry, Batu. I meant to say Batu, and they sound similar, man. But I did not send you any frames. So let me see what I have taken.
All right, while you do that, I will go over these frames. So, okay, here's what we're looking at right here. This is the first frame that is very interesting to me. It is of 2 people possibly sparring or having a fight on a Jedi temple. Now, a couple of people have reached out to me and said, or at least speculated, that this could be a Zepho temple, but I compared it to the architecture in Jedi Fallen Order, and the arch is too pointed, and there's no like scanning the trailer, there's no evidence of Zepho heads, which they like to put on their architecture. But Brooke hates Zepho. It does remind me of the temple on Banchi, which is from Edge of Balance. And Let me go ahead and get it while you don't vamp.
No, it's I don't know. There's a lot of really interesting things here. I guess I have as I'm still pulling it up, the first frame where we saw the planets, we're going through this asteroid field. We can see two spheres in the background. That actually looks a lot like an angled picture of Batu with its two moons. That's why they say bright moons. It's because there's two moons.
Which picture are we talking about?
Just the opening shot. I didn't have any screen grabs just yet, and so I'm taking them as we speak.
Okay, no, we have the fan kit that we could use. This one?
Yes, indeed.
And,
so
this is Batu?
that image. Let me pull up. Batu here.
What's up, Lightsaber Radio? What do you think the likelihood of Quantic changing their formula up for this game? It all depends on how much Lucasfilm Games is actually involved. But both of this isn't a white label job, and this isn't like a full on contract job. It is both of their studios are on it. So it all just depends on what Lucasfilm Games is doing and what Quantic is doing. If Quantic's handling the game, maybe it might be a lot like Detroit Become Human. Or if it's a full-on collaboration, there may be some elements because it did say action adventure in it as well. So really quickly, I'm gonna pull up Us so I can show you. It looks like this. This temple looks like that. And that is the Jedi Temple on Ban Chi in Edge of Balance. Did you have anything to say about this frame right here?
The frame that's being displayed. Yeah, I grabbed the picture of the planet with its two moons, and then you can kind of see there's an asteroid belt near it. And I sent that in our chat.
Now, is that an asteroid belt, or is that the rings? Oh, okay. So Batu does have rings, like an asteroid ring. Because right here in this photo, it's like it's going around in the planet's orbit.
Yeah, and so I know. I mean, it looks similar. I mean, I suppose there's slightly different coloring on. So one of them, but I don't know. It looks pretty close to me. Looks like it just could be an angled shot of it. So I'm gonna call the similarities of it as likely being Batu.
I'm trying to open it in this browser. So let's see here. Is that the one that you are referring to?
Yeah. So that first image we saw looks pretty similar in my opinion.
Yeah. Just
if we're looking at it from a different angle. As well as, we see a beautiful nighttime shot as part of the press little package thing. That we see the spires that are jutting out that look very similar to the spires in the second poster.
Let me see if I can
second
bring that
picture.
up. This one?
Yes. Yeah, if we look at the shape and stuff of those spires, and then you look at the second image I just sent you, I definitely see some similarities.
Yeah. What is this concept of?
Of Batu.
Oh, okay.
And so once we get into the actual shops and stuff, and now I have yet to go to Galaxy's Edge, but it also it indeed sounds a lot like very similar. So it would make sense, especially if we're getting this alien threat that's coming from outside of the galaxy that's coming in. Batu is on kind of that edge, and it's been a great meeting place for different species, you know. And we know that the Grisks have been involved in it for a while.
Let me pull this up really quickly. So this is the image that Choco is talking about. Now the question is, where was it? The question is, are all those spires, and just these three, evidence enough for like similarities? Because I feel like this can also be Elfrona, and that's a Steely. You think?
Could be. In the trailer we see that thing run. There was no click clacking or sparks flying out of its feet, but you know, it also depends on the surface that it's running on and a few things. That's my speculations. This is Batu.
Brooke said, would you say it's on the galaxy's edge? Are you guys, either Dyad or in the chat, doing a playthrough or something? I don't play games, but definitely watching something. So I will be, yes. I will be doing a playthrough of Eclipse when it comes out. I also want Choco to do a playthrough of Detroit Become Human as well. I would like to know if he likes it.
Might give it a shot. We'll see.
Or as in the hackers, I'll give it a shot. Okay, so let's so back to this. I do think it is the Jedi Temple on Ban Chi. I don't know if this is a sparring session or if this is an actual fight. I do have these photos here of these two. Now this angle makes it very, very like it almost certainly looks like the temple on Ban Chi. But like, who were these people? Now, I reckoned it was Vernestra, and I've seen a lot of other people now analyze the footage, and also think that is a Miri Allen. Now, whether or not that is Imri's blue saber, or Vern just has a
backup
Vernestra who has a different saber now, remains to be seen. I'm thinking that this person on the right looks like Lula Talasola, and judging from the timing of this game, it could be when she's really, really old or older. Given the fact that from this view here, which one? From this view, Yoda's back. And if Yoda is back from his sabbatical, that means we're well past where we are in the High Republic right now. Alyssa doesn't think it's Vernestra. Who do you think it is, Alyssa?
Personally, I don't either.
What makes you say that? Who do you think it could be? I mean, is it just a new character then?
I think it's just new characters, personally.
Yeah, I mean, hey, don't try to take the fun out of trying to insert our beloved characters within High Republic media.
I wouldn't dare.
you know, that's definitely Grandmaster Yoda. And this is Cad Bane's grandfather. His name is
One-Eyed Willie.
Willie Bane. His name is Willie Bane. Or Otto Bane. His grandfather was Otto Bane. The grandson was Cad Bane.
Gotcha.
So this is, of course, the Black Spire Outpost? Or is this another city in Batu?
Uh, we got that big temple in the back, and I don't recall much by way of temples there, but it's hard to say. I'm gonna call this one just a planet number two. I think that we are going to start on the edge of the galaxy with Batu. I think we're going to move inward, and I think we're going to get a new planet, and that's what this is. I believe this is the same planet where we see in the trailer what looks like a downed Naboo starfighter.
Where is that?
Where was that?
Yeah, try to send me that frame.
On it.
Do y'all think any of the High Republic writers are involved? Could this be Claudia Gray's secret project? No. The Lucasfilm Games is involved, and we can assume safely that the story group is involved in terms of, trying to keep things tight within the continuity. I don't think any of the writers themselves are involved. They have a whole another phase of books to take care of.
I could imagine that they were involved, broad strokes of like piecing together the big chunks of what is going to happen in the galaxy, but I probably not on the granular level that we're looking for.
Well, actually, isn't Claudia Gray part of the story group as well?
I don't believe so.
Well, in any case, Claudia Gray has a secret project. I hope it's a follow-up to Lost Stars. Could be, couldn't be. We shall see.
Chris, Star Wars lawyer, said in the said once that he wants a Claudia Gray to do a follow-up to Master and Apprentice, where we meet up with Pax and Rahara when Obi-Wan is master to Anakin. And I think that would be amazing. I think that would give us some incredible stories. Plus, you have Rahara, who was formerly a slave, and so was Anakin. And, they don't know that Obi-Wan's master has died. I think there could be some really interesting storytelling there, personally.
Yeah. Rax and Pahara. I'm just kidding. So, Grandmaster Yoda. There's nothing that needs to be said about this frame. It's just,
it's boss. Look at him.
Him looking to Yadme off in the distance.
Oh god, Yaddle is pregnant with Grogu in a tower. No, I'm kidding. The timing wouldn't add up. But yeah, I sent you the frame.
How do you know the timing wouldn't add up? What isn't the gestational period like 250 years?
just cooking in the oven.
We don't
probably
know.
is pretty long. It probably is pretty long, but no.
And then we have these fine things. First of all, I appreciate how high res these pictures are from the fan kit, because it just allows us to pore over these things with a fine-tooth comb. Do you have any idea who this is?
That's my hero, whoever it is. I love them. I love that lightsaber. It's beautiful, elegant.
It is a yellow,
civilized.
It is a yellow lightsaber, curved hilt. I don't know if okay, that seems to be Jedi belts. And then this one, I see fur mixed with a coat.
What I'm calling on this one is one of the people from I think this is another planet that gets attacked that calls for help, and so we have one Jedi. There's also another frame in this where they're facing off against a bunch of beings. It looks like it's on an ice planet. And so I'm calling a similar situation to what happened in Out of the Shadows, where you have one person left kind of manning the outpost who needs some backup, and that's why everyone else is in big cloaks and all the stuff that's dressed appropriate for the weather, but the new person popping in is definitely not.
Okay. So let me bring this picture up that you sent me really quickly. So you think that is an N1 starfighter?
Either it is, or more likely its predecessor.
I don't know. It kind of looks like a skiff to me. Was this shown being shot down?
It was not shown being shot down, but it's I don't believe it can be a skiff. It's far too close.
Far too close to what? You know, like the small ones that Rey used to cross the river or across the ocean and on Kefbir.
So I just sent another photo of the N1. I mean, I know you know what it looks like, but like colors, the canopy, the opening for the droid.
All right, I'll give it to you.
That's
what would Naboo?
It's even at the same angle.
What would Naboo be doing on the? What is this? Is this Naboo?
What are you Naboo in here?
Yeah.
Could be Naboo.
No, well, that would just make it make sense, you know. Let's see here. So a lot of people are saying this. Alyssa says in the chat, a lot of people are saying this is a Wookiee, that she's not sure. So that looks like Wookiee fur to me.
Looks like Wookiee fur. I feel like both of them appear to be the same height, you know, which would be, it could be short Wookiee, you know, it could be a little compact, little squat Wookiee.
Little Padawan.
Yeah. Little baby Burry.
Pre Gunji.
Yep.
Let's see here. What else do we got? We have these mysterious folks. I love these high-res photos, man. Look at the detail. At first I thought that these were the Maxines, but they have noses and they don't match with my current theory that the people at the end are Maxine.
Exactly. However, I'm not finished with this. I'm not going to send it. But I did a little Photoshop where I took off that helmet and I put it on one Marchion wrote.
It could be. It could be that a lot of these scenes are flashbacks and world building. You know, could like if you were to be talking to someone in the game and they're telling you about the history and stuff, and then you see these people.
Or I mean, my running theory, and again, so I haven't made videos on this because I wait to tell you guys first. So I'm going to be putting out a bunch of YouTube videos on it. But my current theory is that we know that the Maxine, sorry, it's not about these people specifically, but with a game like Eclipse that's coming, what is an eclipse? It's not relevant to anyone if you're spacefaring, right?
Yeah.
But some cultures that are really heavily powered in or invested in, you know, space travel, or have unique ways of traveling through hyperspace, understand the galaxy like a Swiss Army knife. You know what I mean? Like they understand every intricate part, and that's how they're able to navigate hyperspace differently than most. And we've seen this with the Maxine station, being able to slip behind enemy lines or go wherever the hell they want to go. I think this is timing. I think this is a ritual that is a countdown to a moment for them to attack. And I think it's going to be sweeping in from the outer rim towards the core. And this is going to be a big thing to stop it, as well as we will be playing as different characters from different factions, from different stations, in order to figure out exactly what's happening to the galaxy and how to address it. You know, if you're playing as a Neimoidian, you aren't going to be doing the fighting, but maybe you have to choose between maneuvering things so that you and your company profits off of this war, or provides aid, or provides defense. You know, maybe we'll have to run into those choices. I think through this game, a lot of people will come to a much better understanding of the prequels and how a war works, because it's not as simple as just winning a single battle.
That makes me think a lot that a lot of the close-ups that we got in the trailer are of the different characters you'd play.
Which in the packet that's provided, we have avatars that you can change for your profile pictures, and it's all of these characters specific to the game.
Yeah, and so really quickly I want to address let's see here. Lightsaber Radio was saying, on at least in this frame, that it looked like the left side character was like a female by build type, and I could see that the wrist is very slender looking. But
sound like Ray Charles.
I am not quite sure yet, though. It could just be a very slender person. We don't know. Let's see here. Dobbs says, I hope you play as that general. Which general? The one that we were just looking at?
Here comes the general. I'm sorry. I have to every time. I don't want to. It's compulsory.
Cal says, could this be set before Light of the Jedi? So the reason we think this is after all of what we are consuming right now in the High Republic is that Yoda is back. And when Light of the Jedi happens, Yoda is already gone on his sabbatical. Now it could be very, like, a long time before Light of the Jedi, maybe, before he goes on his sabbatical. But I do think that with the presence of Trade Federation control ships, we are approaching prequel era. It may be the bridge. You know?
I agree. I think it is going to be the bridge, because we also see, you know, the Lucre Hulk ships, or at least our best, you know, approximation. But we're still going to see how that unfolds.
Yeah. And then, of course, as Choco was talking about, these people, now our first instinct as the Dyad was that these were Maxines, and he mentioned it in his theory. War drums, rituals, very, very ancient, you know, visuals and symbolatry. Somehow Voldemort returned, Robert Kenobi says. I mean, it does. I'm not going to deny it. It looks like him. I actually think that this person right here, like, resembles what we were seeing in the army, but they had their nose ritualistic. I don't know. Never mind. I'm not going to make that leap yet.
Do not bring the Yuuzhan Vong into this.
I mean, honestly, it kind of resembles them, which I hate, but also I hope that they're just not going to. You know what I mean? Thank you,
Also,
Pat, for
I would
all
like
those laughing faces.
I would like to go on record saying the Yuuzhan Vong are nothing like the Grisks. Like, stop it. All right, look at get some help.
Yeah.
No. That just always comes up, that they're similar, but they don't look the same or act the same or have the same hierarchy or the same views on technology or the same views on the Force. Like, there's literally no similarities between the two other than they're aliens.
Yeah. So what I like to say to people who ask that very question is that I like to describe the Grisks as like a happy medium or a compromise, where people wanted the Yuuzhan Vong and they were like, well, here's these people. They're not like the Yuuzhan Vong, but there they are. You know. So I mean, overall, you know, we don't want to spend too much time on this discussion. We have a lot to talk about. Overall, I think one thing is for sure is that this game is going to be heavily story driven because it is a branching narrative game, but it also has the action adventure. I turned into Eggy there. Action adventure. So we'll see what it turns out to be. The cinematic that we saw revealed not much at all. So this is in the High Republic. Whether it's earlier or later remains to be seen. But one thing is for sure, we both think that this isn't a Maxine. And I think that's it for that analysis. If you guys have any other additional analysis to put into the chat, let us know and we'll discuss it. Wow, Chris with the hot take and the antagonism. I'm gonna let you.
Sorry,
handle that.
I don't have the chat up right. Where is it? There it is. Usually, are like the Gris, except they're better. As a lawyer, you'll have to give me a clear similarity in physiology or ideology or sociology.
Your Honor, I object. What's the line from Liar Liar?
On what grounds? It's devastating to my case. Sustained.
Wow, even Chase is like, you're not wrong. What is going on?
Well, in his analogy that the Yuuzhan Vong are like the Lakers and the Gris are like the Clippers, basically the only similarity they are new antagonists from outside the galaxy. And that, yes, that would, I mean, that works. That is a similarity. And if you like them better, then that's okay. I think they're disgusting and I hate them, but you know, it is what it is. They're just not like the Grisks in any way other than being aliens.
I would like to propose and amend Choco's, well, not amend, but add on to Choco's theory that I think the Grisk, in some way, shape, or form, are descended from ancient Maxine. You know, whether that includes like a mutation or like the basis of all of these races, like Markion and Grisk, came from a Maxines, and you know the species evolved over time, and that's what we're looking at nowadays with the Grisk. I don't know if this game is going to have anything to do with the leveler, but I digress. We need to move on to Choco's preferred topic. Wookiee Jedi. What is this all about?
No, I just thought it was interesting. Just a little post that was put up by Paul Duncan. And if you don't know who that is, Paul Duncan is a person that put together, basically Lucasfilm gave him full run of their storehouses with the notes and all the original Lucasfilm stuff, and he's who put together the archive books. So there's the archive books for the original trilogy and a new one that came out this past year for the prequel trilogy, and that's the concept art for a Wookiee Jedi that they were initially going to put into Attack of the Clones. And then on top of that, as a reply, Pablo Hidalgo said, "This is around the time where George Lucas said that Wookiees can't be Jedi's."
Yeah.
Which was sad, but he's also said that he was very happy to see George reverse that decision in the Clone Wars when we got Gunji. But it's pretty cool because it shows how also around that time period, after George said that, they started using the Wookiees in the expanded universe a lot less. So you no longer saw Tavoka stories, who was Plo Koon's master, and even Lobaka took a back seat, around 2002. But with the reversal of that decision, we got Gunji, and now we have a few more Wookiee Jedi, which is pretty cool. Although the Star Wars book does say it's pretty rare for a Wookiee to be Force sensitive. I just think that was really cool. But also, it gives us a little window into how there's some of the hard fast rules that people believe about Star Wars are not hard fast rules. They may have been guidelines set up by George Lucas that he later reversed. This whole thing is a moving target, so I really appreciated seeing that side of it as well. I'm happy he reversed the decision, but that design is badass.
It is badass. I would like to see, maybe this resulted in Archov, who knows? Because a lot of the High Republic stuff resulted in using old concept art from back then. Let's see here. I love Buryaga. I just can't remember his master. Connor, his master is Nib Essek. Let's see here. Micronesian Tem, Sup Element, and Choco. You must be new to Dyad in the Force. I do not recognize that name. Welcome to Dyad in the Force. So
welcome.
Happy you can make it. And I was just kind of the irony in the fact in this tweet with the presence of my name in some shape or form. If you guys can't see it, it is from an account called A Pep, Lord of Chaos. And he's talking about how George Lucas said Jedi don't marry, and then he was like, well, you guys did it anyway. And with Mara Jade. I just thought that was funny. So that's kind of cool to kind of look back on, when they were designing Wookiee Jedi, and then George was like, no, and then he was like, yeah, with Gunji. It's pretty cool.
But it also validates certain things as well. It's okay if that George Lucas didn't like Mara Jade or the concept of Luke being married. It doesn't invalidate those stories either. You can just basically, I just want us all to be fans and like stuff because that's better for life.
Yeah. Core, thank you for tuning in. Have a good night. Much love back to you.
Let Eric score.
And since there's more people in the chat that I'm noticing are new, I would like to reiterate again, Dyad in the Force is partnering with Lucasfilm Publishing to give away 2 of these Who Will Survive posters. It has everyone in the High Republic. And you can enter via the link in the description or seventhelement.net/giveaway. We are giving away 2 of them. And as of now, we're shipping to the US and in the UK or Europe, whichever. But yeah, you can fill out the form from that link and enter. And we'll announce it next week. Connor says, do I just need to read the books to understand that poster? Yes. Yes. Okay.
You'll read the books, you'll weep bitterly, and then you'll understand.
All right, moving on to the Fallen Star excerpt. I actually just glossed over the Hunters gameplay trailer. Do we have any is this very substantial gameplay trailer, or did anything change? Is there any revelations?
We actually do see some gameplay footage from a lot more of the characters, just to kind of get a better idea of certain people's abilities. And yeah, I mean there's more news on Star Wars Hunters where we get a lot to cover.
Yeah.
So we can go ahead and move on. But stars.com, we can shoot the link out. I'll put the link in the chat if you guys want to check it out on your own. The game looks fun. It's going to be 4v4 hero battler. It's going to be like a 4v4 Overwatch, and different characters, different classes. The maps look like they have pretty cool like verticality, and it looks pretty interesting. As well as we got to see a little bit more of one of the characters that are going to be in this game. In the most recent issue of Crimson Reign.
Did we?
The first one. Scroll up.
The first one.
Imara Vex.
Oh! That's cool. Is Hunter's canon then? Or adjacent?
It's probably going to be canon adjacent, but who knows? Who knows? Maybe they'll be able to put a reason behind it. It's just a big old arena thing run by Huts. I can imagine that being a thing as well. But it would have to be canon adjacent, because if you play as Amara Vex and you die a bunch, she's probably not going to be canonically resurrected thousands of times. But you never know.
I call dibs. I think J3D1 or J3DI is going to be my main. So move aside everyone who plans to play with us this game. And I have a feeling someone might main Reeve. I think you might main Zyna or Zayna or Utuni. Utuni.
The Zayna character seems interesting. When you see her, robotic feet, it's kind of similar to Octane.
Yeah.
And you actually get to see it in the gameplay footage. You get to see her jumping up on things that are higher than most people can to get a better vantage point. So yeah, we'll see. Also, it's interesting, J3DI is a droid that thinks he's a Jedi. So it's going to be different than what we saw in Visions. But like, instead of a forced pull, he actually shoots out a little grappling hook and pulls people towards him.
Pathfinder.
and stuff like that. So it's it's going to be interesting. I'm going to play the game. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And I like when it's lighthearted. It's not taking itself too seriously. You can just kind of enjoy.
Absolutely. And employs Jedi or J3DI employs a deadly lightsaber spin move we like to call Form 8 Lightsaber. Shout out to Shayla.
It's the Shayla Ren style. You can't. It's unbeatable. It's Neji couldn't even stop it. Just saying.
Micronesian Tem says, yeah, first time live, always watch the archived vids. Well, I appreciate your support and watching the VODs. Welcome to live. You are now being interacted with live. Micronesian Tem. Your name is Micronesian Tem. Okay, so moving on to this Fallen Star excerpt. I'm going to read this as fast as possible. We don't know where this excerpt comes from, so it's if you don't want to read this excerpt, you may mute your stream now, and I'll put my hand up top here, or put on like a spoiler.
Put my hand up.
Not the Tempest Runner, but it's a spoiler zone. So we're going to read this. We're going to read this excerpt. Let me see if I can't fit this here. Oh no. I haven't used the spoiler tag in forever. Really quickly, before we start, I just want to... Fallen Star. There you go. All right. So... The excerpt begins as such. The long beam cruiser slipped into the Nefertifi system as smoothly and silently as a sharp needle piercing black cloth. Only a few million years before, a star in this previously binary system had exploded, leaving behind a nebula of extraordinary scale. Trails of deep purple and dark blue gases laced between the planets, radioactive and opaque, hiding the entire system within swirls of mist. Many smugglers had, in the past, taken advantage of that mist. The Jedi now believed the Nile were using it too. It was their last place to hide. Any signals? Master Indira Stokes asked her Padawan. Belzetifar, next to her, shook his head. So, Indira Stokes is Master to Bell. Nothing on any frequency. It's completely quiet out there. It shouldn't be. Master Nib Asik shook her head, her gray hair painted silver by the shadows in which they stood, when a long beam ran on half power to avoid attention, as this one now did. Lighting dimmed accordingly. Gun runners have used this part of space for a long time. You'd expect beacons, tagged cargo in asteroids. Something of that sort. Instead, nothing. Bell glanced over at a fellow Padawan, the Wookiee Boryaga, who stood by Master Asik's side. Their shared look confirmed that they understood what was implied. The Nefertifi system was too quiet. Finding no activity here was like landing on Coruscant and finding it deserted. Proof positive that something was very wrong. Here, it could only mean that the Nile were near. They must be using silencers, Bell said to Master Indira. Satellites or shipboard. Shipboard, I suspect. We'll soon find out, his master squared her shoulders. Her Thalothian tendrils rippled down her back. Bell felt the shiver of anticipation that went through the Jedi cohort aboard. The Force was warning them of what was about to come. Master Indira put her hand on her lightsaber hilt. The other long beams report similar readings, or lack thereof. The Nile must be very near. Finally, action. A chance to move on the Nile. Bell had wanted this, needed it, ever since the loss of his former master Loden Greatstorm. Not for vengeance, Greatstorm would never have wanted that. For the knowledge that Bell had done something, anything, to counteract the evil that had robbed his master of his life. The Nile were already beaten, it seemed. Master Avar Kriss seemed on the verge of capturing their leader, the Eye, at any moment, but neither Bell nor the rest of the galaxy would be at peace until the threat had been laid to rest forever. The debacle at the Republic Fair months ago could have damaged confidence in the Republic and in the Jedi, past repair. Instead, the Nile were now on the run. The corners had been turned. This entire part of the galaxy would soon be wholly safe once more. Thank you for tuning in, Dob. Have a good night in Ireland. Let's see here. Once everyone else had regained their confidence and security, maybe Bell would too. As the long beam passed through another thick golden cloud of gases, Master Indira was the first to say, "They're above us, almost directly overhead." Boryaga growled in assent. Ship sensors almost immediately began to flash, but the true warning came to them through the Force. Bell's senses heightened, his muscles tensed, readiness galvanized him on every level. Here it comes, he thought, as he looked out the cockpit. The dark, swirling nebula gases became translucent as the long beam rose, revealing the underbelly of the Nile ship. Bell imagined the warning alarms on that ship's bridge, the frantic rush of activity as they prepared to fight. For by this point, surely the Nile had realized that the Jedi had come to fight. Is that a rhyme? But the Jedi had been ready from the instant they left Starlight Beacon, and their moment had finally come. For Master Loden, Bell thought, and that no one else may ever suffer at the Nile's hands as he suffered. The initial boarding attack had been designed for precisely this moment. The mothership of the Jedi group seized the Nile craft in its tractor beam, holding it fast, as the long beam on which Bell and his compatriots stood angled itself to attach to one airlock and block several others. Docking, rough, uneven, forced, shook the entire vessel, but the team remained steady and alert, recognizing the moment when the vibration signaled their penetration of the hull. "For light and life!" Master Asik cried as they dashed into the Nile ship. Bell had rarely felt the Force with him so powerfully as he did at the moment he rushed forward into a blazing array of blaster fire, slashing through air that surrounded him so closely he could feel the heat. The scent of ozone filled Bell's breath, yet his lightsaber blade deflected every blaster bolt so smoothly that it seemed to be moving itself, aiming without any conscious work from Bell other than fierce concentration. All around him, he saw a sea of faceless, soulless masks. Nile shooting, scattering, scrambling, and advancing upon them, the Jedi swift and sure. "Now!" Master Indira called over the fray. Acknowledgement of the warning from the Force they all felt. Bell ducked behind a metal girder to shield him for the seconds it took to strap on his breather. No sooner had he done so than the telltale hiss from the air vents revealed that the Nile's poison gases had been deployed. Too late, Bell thought with satisfaction. It's your turn to be too late. Master Indira led the charge toward engineering, or what passed for it, on the cobbled-together, jury-rigged Nile vessel. Bell and Buryaga fell in directly behind. It would be up to Master Asik to hold off the Nile near the airlock. Bell's job was to paralyze this ship. Even running at top speed, Bell could tell that this ship was ramshackle to the point of hazardousness. The interior was dismal, dull, and strictly utilitarian. What made someone want to live like this? To join the Nile, visit infinite pain and destruction upon innocents throughout several systems, and for what? Life on a dark, dank ship creeping along the edges of space, with only the dim spark of potential future riches to provide any light, something that was no life at all. Ben's wonderings only took up one small part of his consciousness, musings he'd examine later. The present moment was for completing his mission. Green gas filled the corridors with toxic haze to which the Jedi remained impervious thanks to their breathers. However, the gases meant that Bell felt the door ahead of them before he saw it. Master Indira and Buryaga must have as well, because they all skidded to a halt at the same moment. "Should we knock?" Bell asked. Buryaga groaned at the terrible choke.
That actually felt pretty good. I feel like I'm doing a pretty decent Wookiee. I've never done that before.
That was good. That's good. Master Indira simply plunged her lightsaber into the door's locking mechanism. The heated glow of melting metal illuminated all their faces in pale orange light. For the instance it took for the door to give way, it stuttered open to reveal only a skeleton crew, and most of them young and unarmed, and all too willing to surrender. It helped Bell, knowing that he wouldn't have to take additional lives. What had to be done, but the pain he felt over the tragedy of Loden Greatstorm remains sharp. It could have pushed him in dangerous directions. Instead, he was satisfied with their capture. No more. "You taught me well, Master," Bell thought to the memory of the man that he carried within his mind. Once they finished, rounding up the prisoners, Buryaga whined curiously. "Yeah, seems like a low crew contingent to me, too," Bell said. "Do you think Marshal Chris's pursuit of the Eye of the Nile has shaken them up? They might have deserters by the hundreds, even thousands." He didn't like the idea of the Nile escaping any justice for the atrocities they had already committed. But the most important thing was making those atrocities stop. If the price of saving so many lives was a few Nile deserters getting off scot-free, so be it. "We've gone on the offensive," Bell told himself. We've outplayed the Nile at their own game. We did it for you, Master Loden, and for every other person who has suffered as you. Bell couldn't even think about it. Buryaga didn't seem to notice Bell's distraction, for which Bell was grateful. Instead, the great Wookiee shook his head and growled. "Sure, it was easy," Bell agreed. "I don't know if it was too easy, though. No point in worrying about it if the Nile are finally collapsing." In that, at least Buryaga completely concurred.
It's a trap!
So very interesting. As the article suggests, a much needed victory for the Jedi. So how would you surmise this excerpt without spoiling anything?
Ah, man. Well, whew, without spoiling anything, that makes it tough. I mean, I love the allusions to what's going on with Avar, and I would love to kind of revisit that, because we know that she's going through it, and she's going to have the eye captured. Who is that? Who do you think she's going to have captured? Because at this point, they may not know who the true eye is. So yeah, we will have to see that as well. But I love this pairing. I love more Buryaga, obviously, and I think Bell has started out as kind of he's one of the goodest boys. Bell Zedifar. He's just a good boy, and I like it when he's happy.
If anything happens to him, we riot. Is that the consensus here?
Yep, we burn this mother down if anything happens to Bell. But you notice that there is one presence absent. Bell normally has a tag along.
Oh no!
So we don't know. We don't know.
But he didn't seem like he didn't seem like that. So.
And it would have come up in conversation or at least in his inner thoughts. Yeah. Just want to shout out in the chat. St. Pat just said, just got to say in
he just
Star Wars
saw
news how amazing Voyage of Destruction is. So episode 3 of Voyage of Destruction, the tabletop RPG that myself, Element 7, Cal 4, Shaylee, Brooke, JB, and Malik played together. Hopefully I'm not forgetting anyone. I don't think I am. Episode 3 is up, and it's wild.
It is a doozy. It is quite the doozy.
We go off the rails. So yeah.
This is where the fun begins.
And I believe there's only going to be one episode left. So next Saturday, look forward to that.
Wow. Shout out also to Alyssa and Loden for saying Choco's Wookiee is 10 out of 10. The greatest Wookiee.
Thank you very much.
All right. Choco, would you like to read the Mission to Disaster excerpt?
Sure. Why not? Vernestra Rowe, Jedi Knight, Master to Padawan Imri Cantaros, needed a nap. Come on, Vern, one more round. I think I'm finally getting the hang of it, called Imri from the middle of the canyon, where he hung in midair after missing the jump. Vernestra was holding Imri aloft with the Force, and she very carefully set him down on the ground beside her. That was the 33rd time she had caught him. She was exhausted. Since Imri had become Vernestra's Padawan after the Steady Wing disaster, they hadn't had a lot of opportunities for controlled practice in the field. Between fighting the Drengir and the Denial and going to Coruscant to help Master Stellan, they'd been too busy to just take a day and practice the fundamentals. But now, the Nihil leader, the mysterious Eye, was on the run, and the Republic and the Jedi had finally restored safety to the frontier and the hyperspace lanes. Vernestra had decided it was beyond time that Imri had some more formalized instruction. They traveled to Karima to give Imri a chance to practice a few different techniques, such as jumping longer distances and leaping great heights. Vernestra thought it would be a good place to finally practice the skills they hadn't had a chance yet to explore. Imri was, as usual, enthusiastic, but maybe not the best at using the Force for great feats of strength. He was fantastic at creating bonds and using the Force to soothe emotions, something that Vernestra had worried over initially, but now saw as just the way Imri interpreted the will of the Force. Working with the younger boy had been as much a learning experience for Vernestra as it had been for Imri. Vernestra had become a Jedi Knight at the tender age of 15, much younger than most, and now at nearly 18, she realized that she had learned much more from having a Padawan than from any other part of her life as a Jedi. Imri was to be thanked for that. But she was really, really tired of catching the boy before he plunged to his death. I feel like Master Skier has a different idea of the best training for a Padawan than I do, Vernestra said, eyeing the canyon before them once more. It had been Master Skier who had suggested the training location, and his former Padawan, Keeve, had laughed when Vernestra had asked about her experience training with him on Karima. Oh, Emery will find it unforgettable, trust me, she said with a grin. Vernestra had gotten the impression that she'd meant that in a bad way, but Emery was having a blast. Okay, one more time, and then we need to find some lunch, Vernestra said, her middle aching empty. Ready? Emery squared his shoulders and sank into a crouch. Ready. Vernestra ran towards Emery, using the force to push off the ground so each step became explosive. She sped past him, towards the looming edge of the cliff in the canyon beyond. At the last possible moment, she jumped, using the force to carry her up and across. Her jump far more powerful than anything an average being could accomplish on their own. She skidded to a stop on the other side and turned to see Emery grinning after her. All right, it's your turn, she yelled back, cupping her hands around her mouth to make sure that her voice could carry across the distance. Emery began to run towards the edge of the ravine, and Vernestra prepared to catch him if he needed her to. It was more likely than not. They had been on Karima the whole day, and he had yet to make the jump. This would be the time when he did. Vernestra could feel it. Emery reached the edge of the canyon and launched himself across, his arms windmilling as he flew through the air. Vernestra grinned at the trajectory and the speed of the jump. He was going to make it. Karima faded away, and Vernestra was suddenly watching a man dressed as Nio shooting Avon, the girl falling to the ground in a laboratory Vernestra had never seen. A figure loomed over her, and Vernestra reached out trying to help her friend. Oof! Emery slammed into Vernestra. They both went tumbling backward into the dirt. Vernestra groaned as Emery scrambled to his feet. Vern, are you okay? Did you see that? I made it! I did it! Emery jumped up and down, punching the air in excitement. Yes, you did. Excellent job. Vernestra climbed to her feet with a frown, dusting herself off as she did. Vern, what's wrong? You're troubled. Emery's ability to read the emotions of those around him was stronger than most Jedi's, and he'd become a valuable asset to diplomatic missions because of it. It no longer overwhelmed him, since he now had a number of targeted meditations he could use when the emotions of others became too much. Vernestra was proud that Emery had been able to find a way to embrace his abilities instead of resisting them. She had helped, but the accomplishment was still due to his hard work. It was one of her favorite things about her Padawan. He just didn't give up. She wished she could be as brave as him. As you jumped, I had a vision, Vernestra said. Emery's mouth fell open. Here? But I thought that usually only happened in hyperspace for you. Yeah, which is why it was so alarming. I wonder if it's because it was somehow more personal. I saw Avon, and she looked to be in danger. Do you think something happened to Port Halib? Emery said, the distant planet. Halib had been their home for a while when Vernestra had been a new knight and Emery had been a Padawan to Jedi Master Douglas Sunvale, who had perished in the devastation of the Steady Wing explosion. They both still had a number of friends on Halib, and the thought that something terrible had happened there was not an easy one. Do you think it could be the Nile? Vernestra shook her head. I'm not sure how. The person was dressed like the Nile, but the efforts of the Jedi and the Republic have all but eliminated them. It might be nothing at all. Maybe I just need some water. Emery's expression went hard. We should send a call back to Halib, just in case. Vernestra and Emery hiked back to their ship, which was only a couple kilometers away. As they walked, Vanessa tried not to let her thoughts run wild. There was no benefit in that. When they reached the ship, Emery's expression had gone from worried to positively distraught. Emery, don't let your worry take hold of you. Accept it and let it wash over you and propel you into action. Vanessa said with a smile that she hoped revealed none of her own concern. Was that sudden connection to Avon a vision of the future or a call for help? In the past couple months, Vanessa had begun having visions in hyperspace once again, a talent she thought lost to her days as a Padawan. But her visions had led her and Emery to Mari Santeca, a hyperspace navigator being monstrously preserved by the Nile for her ability to calculate seemingly impossible yet perfectly safe hyperspace routes at incredible rates. As the woman had passed on, Vanessa had thought her visions might cease, but she'd found that instead of stopping, they changed. The flashes she got didn't make much sense, but she'd taken to noting them in small recording rod she kept on her belt pouches. Perhaps one day she would understand them better. For now, she kept them to herself. But she was left with frustration. Had her visions been pointing her to whatever Avon was now wrapped up in? She kept seeing fire rain down on a beautiful green and blue planet. People calling for help and shouting in despair. She'd tried going through the databanks to see if there had been any reported disasters of the magnitude she had seen on such a planet, but she had not discovered anything, which made Vanessa think that perhaps it hadn't happened yet. But that meant there was even more reason for concern. Vanessa had thought this excursion to Karima would help clear their minds, but here they were, heading back with even more worries plaguing their thoughts. Fighting the Nile had taken its toll, and Vernestra couldn't help thinking that Emery might be right. Haleb could be in danger. They boarded the small ship they had been allowed to borrow, the wishful thinking. The Jedi quartermaster on the Starlight Beacon, Master Nuberon, still hadn't forgiven Vernestra for crashing not one, but two of their prize ships, but they were at least letting her have smaller skiffs once more when she promised Emery would do most of the flying. It was a good compromise. Emery was a capable pilot. She and Emery entered the shuttle and got a quick drink of water to wash the dust from their throats. And then Emery powered up the shuttle while Vernestra played the waiting message. Jedi Knight Vernestra Rowe and Padawan Emery Quinteros. The message began. The likeness of Jedi Master Estella Maru, the Jedi who ran the control center on Starlight Beacon and coordinated the activities of all who lived there, flashed before them as the holo message played. We've had an alert from Master Jorinda that there was a possible Nile attack in Port Haleb, and there have been a number of casualties. Since you are the closest, Starlight Beacon is asking for you to respond. Please go to the outpost, assess the damage, and report back. Confirm receipt of message. Vernestra sent confirmation and nodded to Emery. Well, that saves us a call to Port. That saves us a call to Port Haleb. Let's head straight there. I'll grab a couple ration packs out of the back, and we can eat while we fly. Emery bit his lip as the shuttle lifted off the ground. I hope Avon is okay. Me too, Vernestra said, but she had the creeping feeling that her vision had been the real thing. That felt like a really long excerpt.
Yes, yes. Awesome excerpts from Fallen Star and from Mission to Disaster. Hello, Austin Shock. I think this is the first or second time you've made it to our show live. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope you are doing your day is going well. So that excerpt confirmed one thing, and that is Mission to Disaster is yet another book that I'm going to absolutely enjoy for the sake of my desire for more learning moments. These moments between Vernestra and Emery are just gold in terms of lore and for like updating our lexicon for you know, how the Force works, how they learn this stuff. Because I don't know if I can speak for Choco, but I've gotten a lot of questions about how do they learn such and such, and I'm like, I don't know. But we did get a chance to explore maybe a portion of Force speed and Force leap.
It's interesting because we do see that in cases of great stress, usually that they are able to make their feats, but you don't want to rely on that, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, training to get that consistency. No, I completely agree. I like these stories because it's, you know, I love, it still doesn't, you know, obviously doesn't replace the big story, the big universe shaking like narrative that we're going to get from a fallen star.
Yeah.
But after dealing with these big old macro stories, it's nice to have the little micro stories that we get to like just follow these two people that we've known since the beginning of their journey. And we get to see them like meet up with Avon. Has Avon fixed it? I mean, I have questions. Questions. I'm sure we will get those answers. I'm going to read this book and I'm going to enjoy the hell out of it.
Absolutely. And I guess we're both just really big fans of stories that involve learning. I've said it before and I'll say it again. We need more stories surrounding Padawans, which brings us to the Acolyte. Amandla Stenberg is seemingly going to play codename Aura in the Acolyte.
Mm-hmm.
And she is young. The actress is young, or they are young. I'm sorry. And that means it's going to be a dark side story revolving around them learning about the dark side. So dark side lore, maybe some Sith lore. But man, oh man, oh man. A lot of people are already discussing who they could possibly be playing. Choco, you had an initial theory as to who Amandla would be playing?
Yeah, I mean, it was reported, of course, that this show is going to take place at the tail end of the High Republic, but that still leaves questions. When you say the tail end of the High Republic, what do you mean exactly? And these people who are reporting on it, what do they understand about, I guess, Star Wars? So my mind went to, well, yes, they could be talking about something that's happening 50 years before the Phantom Menace. They could also be talking about something happening at the end of this publishing initiative.
Right.
And if that were the case, I would love to her playing Keeve Trennis. That's the very first place my mind went, because when you read Dooku Jedi Lost and the topic of the Lost 20 comes up, they mention a Jedi Trennis.
Mm-hmm.
If Keeve left, did she fall to the dark? We don't know, but if this could potentially be that story, or let's say codename Aura, it could be someone completely different. But either way, I'm excited. Like, you can't throw out the word Acolyte in Star Wars and have us not think Sith.
Yeah, it's very synonymous with Sith lore. Loden Greatstorm says she's a perfect Keeve. Loden, I'm pretty sure that Amandla identifies as non-binary, so it would be a they, at the very least. I'm not sure what their preferred pronouns are, but it seems in the language of this article, it says that the Acolyte will instead be set during the final days of the High Republic era. And I don't know if that's just them interpreting the tail end of the High Republic into the final days, but if that's the case, then it could be an original character, or it could be Jedi Trennis but descended from Keeve within that line.
Also true.
I also
additionally could be an alien.
Yeah. I also think it could be that they are descended from Lula or Indira or this is how funny it is to be so invested in the High Republic era, is that every single story we are forcibly inserting all of these characters that we know into all of the stories, and like a new game comes out, oh, is that Vernestra? The Acolyte comes out, that's gotta be Keeve. It's like I wouldn't be mad if Acolyte came out and Eclipse came out and they were all original, just new characters, and no one we know. I would be okay with that. But I find it extremely funny that we are both, or at least me personally, am just constantly desiring to insert characters anywhere.
I feel like for you in the High Republic, it's Lula being inserted everywhere, just like
it's just based on the
Lula
looks.
Is your High Republic version of Quinlan Voss. That's all I'm saying.
I actually think I have two Quinlan Vosses in the High Republic. That's Vernestra and Lula, because I want Vernestra to be in everything. She is my second favorite behind Orla Jareni. Of all of High Republic, and this one is creeping really, really up. Like she's creeping up like very fast as well. I can't wait. I can't believe that Edge of Balance Volume 2 is like March, but whatevs. We can use the break. Galactic Mermaid is on board with Choco on the alien boat. We need more alien-led stories. Absolutely. Alyssa Gray says, that's what I'm thinking it's going to be, especially since Acolyte is going to be at the end of the High Republic. I don't think it's super likely we're going to see many people we know. That is true. If it is in the final days, rather than the end of the High Republic publishing initiative, if it is in the final days, that is like 180 some odd years in the future. There's going to be a lot of new people that we don't know.
But Yoda will be there.
Yes.
As well,
Maz.
Maz Kanata, Terrace Sunube. There's some old timers still kicking around the galaxy at that time. Yeah.
Oppo. Just one thing's for sure, within this era and the next and all throughout the sequels, and there are long-lived species that are approaching 1,000 years that you can bet that they're going to be in these stories. But as to who is going to be the protagonist or antagonist, we don't know. Austin Shock says, I would love to see an all-alien Star Wars show like the new Star Trek one. No humans. That would be an interesting show, actually. No humans whatsoever. I agree with that. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, but for my first all no human show, I want to just ascendancy show. But
that would be awesome as well. Would that be set in the ascendancy timeline?
Yes. Yeah. Or actually, no. I mean, I guess it wouldn't technically be all just in this case, but I would love to see it when Eli Vanto is out there doing his thing, trying to figure out the secrets behind the Skywalkers, and he's just the only just a country dude and in a whole sea of blue, just trying to make his way.
Well, now that doesn't become alien led.
Yeah, no, that's true. I just miss my boy Eli so much.
But an argument can be made that every species in that galaxy is alien in nature. I mean, what is that called? What is Mace's race again? Harun call
Such of the Sea.
Korun. It starts with a K. It is a Korun.
Korin.
a Corrin would be alien to human if there was a human species in Star Wars. There's a lot of human-looking aliens, is what I'm trying to say. But I guess alien to us, alien to like aesthetically to us. I'm imagining. But we do have a final segment to talk about, a final news piece that Choco kind of brought up earlier in the week, and that is news on Rogue Squadron. If you joined this show to find out about what's happening with Rogue Squadron, this is it. Choco, what's going on with Patty Jenkins?
Yeah, so originally it was reported, last month that the project was getting shelved. I mean, even before that, someone said it was not in active production, so everyone assumed it was canceled. That's not what that means, but that's a whole separate topic. But yeah, it was cited that Patty Jenkins was leaving the project due to having multiple commitments, which makes perfect sense because she had Wonder Woman coming up, she had Cleopatra coming up, and just a lot of things were going on, and so it's really hard to work that schedule. We've seen other projects be delayed or people have to walk off of the projects because they couldn't make the schedule work. Now, I also saw a number of channels saying that wasn't true. It was actually creative differences, and it was really bad and all this stuff. All the news outlets, though, kept saying it was scheduling conflicts. Well, we got news saying that she is not going to be directing the Cleopatra film, that she is going to be stepping back and become a producer on that film and having another director, which will give her the time to work on Rogue Squadron. So Rogue Squadron is back in the lineup, which is great news. Also, that news lines up perfectly with what was before. So yeah, I'm excited. It's great news because ship-based stuff is really cool in Star Wars. If you haven't read Lost Stars or the Rogue Squadron books from the expanded universe or Alphabet Squadron, I mean, if the pilots are cool. That's all I'm saying. Pilots are super cool.
It is a largely untapped resource in Star Wars to explore the pilots and the soldiers. And I think this Rogue Squadron is the first of many that's going to come out. That's like pilot appreciation year or something, a pilot appreciation month, where we're just gonna follow. And this is why I want a Lost Stars live action. But Luke asks, where's JJ? So JJ actually canceled last minute because she had to travel unexpectedly. We don't know the details. That is her personal information. So yes, life happens, and we could not get a replacement in time. But we love JJ, and we hope that everything is okay on her end.
And we can't wait to actually get her on the podcast.
Yes, she will be rescheduled. What era is Rogue Squadron going to be again? Pat asks. I don't think they now.
I don't know.
What I've been told. I think the current language on the synopsis of Rogue Squadron, at least as it stands right now, is the future era of Star Wars. What that means, it could mean many things. It could be far into the future. It could be after Rise of Skywalker, like immediately, or it could just be wow, we've gone 1,000 AB. By the way,
yeah, I think another important thing to remember is that Rogue Squadron. So there's a question that took down the first Death Star, right? But that being said, they all died mostly. There's 2 people that survived, and so if you read the Rogue Squadron books, right, they take place after Return of the Jedi, and basically they're saying, hey, this group of pilots, Rogue Squadron, is a rallying point for our cause. That's why we're going to reform the squad. And so that storyline could happen anywhere. They
Yeah.
could say, you know what, 30 years ago, Rogue Squadron took down the first Death Star. They were a symbol of hope for the galaxy. And now that we've taken down the First Order, we need a symbol again. And they could form them, later in the future. We don't know when it's going to take place, but either way, I'm excited.
Absolutely. And as Austin Shock says, definitely the favorite part of Star Wars for me are the ships and the designs. They're fascinating. They're just chock full of ships and chock full of pilots who deserve, some added exposure and some love, narratively.
I am chock full of Choco. Did you?
I want some Choco sticks now. By the way, reminder again for anyone who is still in the chat, we're giving away this poster. 7theelement.net/giveaway. We're giving away 2 of these posters. Yeah, look at that light. Oh, that's the back. There you go. We're giving away 2 of these posters. So enter from the link in the description or 7theelement.net/giveaway to enter. So yeah, it sounds like an amazing show, St. Pat says. I'm looking forward to no, this is going to be a movie.
Rogue Squadron's supposed to be a movie.
Do you want us to sign it? So
is strong with this one.
Super chatted $1.99.
Loading Great Sir, thank you for the $2 ramen drop in the heart. I shall give you some finger hearts back. Choco, do the same.
I've never done a finger heart before in my life, and it doesn't. I feel
Just
wrong.
crisscross.
Applesauce.
Crisscross applesauce. So Connor, oh man. Okay, so Connor and St. Pat want us to sign the posters. I
love the vote of confidence that
yes,
we're gonna be like relevant in the future. I believe so. I hope so.
Connor loves the super chat. Yeah.
Super chatted.
So listen, I've never given away an autograph because I don't know. It's never been wanted.
It's never come up.
No. But then also signing it would require Choco to be up here or me to be down there at some point. And we are announcing the winners now. Okay, so let's make this a thing. Choco, we'll have to commit to this. We'll announce the winners next Saturday on Dyad, and we'll ask the winners if they want it to be signed by the Dyad. And we'll make it happen. If it's I'll make a day trip to San Diego, and we'll just have lunch, and then we'll do the same thing that Choco did here. And have him sign it. We are giving you guys an excuse to meet up. I suppose so. So we are in. So we're like sorely past time right now. So I kind of want to give you guys like 5 or 10 minutes of open forum. If you guys want to talk to us about anything, feel free to leave something in the chat. Leave a question in there. Choco, is there anything you want to discuss prior to anybody else?
Well, I mean, given the nature we were just the subject we were just talking about, what was it like meeting up in person and all that jazz?
Oh, so this was actually one of the segments that I skipped. I really so meeting up with you, Camilla, and Xanthi was an eye-opener because it really made me value like human contact. It was different. The power was different. When we were making videos together, that was different from us doing this. because like we could talk shop and we can like, you know, immediately brainstorm and talk about things like in real time. Whereas if I have an idea, if you have an idea, you send a message, I send a message, and you just kind of wait for the god of correspondence to you know, bless us. And that's how it works remotely.
Yeah, you got to see me be all irritated when I did a bad take on recording something, and yeah.
Yeah, all that stuff just kind of like comes to the fore. Austin Shock, everyone have a nice night. Going to edit a Star Wars video and do an info one on Mace Windu toy I have with the green lightsaber, then some aquarium water changes. Well, good luck with that, Austin Shock.
Sounds like a long video with an odd ending.
Yeah, it does. But thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have a nice night and good luck with that video. Loden Greatstorm is down with the Dyad talk. So am I, you know, and we kind of discussed this briefly. The want and the desire for a Dyad studio where we can get guests to come on in person, because our conversation with Camilla, with Xanthi, was just, I miss you guys so much. Like, as much as we talk in VC and as much as we kind of like hit each other up on socials, it was such a pleasant experience. And doing the rage room with you was fun as hell too, but like just being in person was fabulous. And I cannot wait for Star Wars Celebration to hang out with Brooke, Cal, Connor, if you can make it. Anybody who is coming to Star Wars Celebration, I would love to just be in the presence of everyone personally. You know, it was just spectacular.
Yeah, you know what's interesting is it has me questioning, because you know my entire life I never thought as an adult I would make friends on the internet. You know, it's felt like an odd concept, which I know it's probably not that way for most people, especially if you're playing like MMOs. But even those, like, I never even gamed with people. It was I always went rogue, you know.
Which is funny because 2 of my exes I met in World of Warcraft, and I had to fly to them.
It's that's because Element uses the flirt option whenever he gets the chance. No, it's interesting though, because there's a very big difference when you find people that you become friends with because of actual shared interest. You know, like I don't know, it's fascinating, because I always thought like, oh, internet friends can't be real because you don't see them in person, and then I realized maybe the real friends, well, because certain people you're friends because of proximity. Now that's just, I have some amazing real friends, like, I don't know, Isaac Church is in the chat, or you know, my boy Travis, and like I have some amazing real, you know, friends in real life. But growing up, there's a lot of people that you realize were in your life because of proximity, and this is different, you know. And
you kind of had to force your interests to align with those people. Like if, like in your hometown neighborhood, there were just neighbors and the neighbors' kids, and you kind of just played together. I remember distinctly, I made one of the neighbors' kids start playing hockey, and he was horrible at it. I to this day I don't think he liked it at all. So but it was such a revelation that like there was no awkwardness when we met. Like we you know, we shook hands and we're like, man, and finally we're meeting, and then it just felt like we've been friends this entire time, you know, talking. And then the same thing happened with Camilla. Just like, hey, like this is how it's been, only virtually. And there was just no kind of like, what do I say now? Like it was a pretty natural transition. Yeah, playing Pokemon Go with Xanthi was a lot of fun. Natural click happened there. Let's see here. Cal says more Phasmo after this. You got it. I just got to eat first. Cal also says I just need to move out to California. I need everybody to move out to California. I'm just kidding. Everybody has their favorite places to live. But I would like everyone to at least visit California so that we can all hang out together. Connor said, I swear to God, this music making me feel emotional. This happens every stream. Yeah, I don't know. I have it on chill lo-fi right now. And Choco, you can hear it, right?
Yeah, I can't hear it, but I can hear the drum beats. I have very sensitive ears. By the way, did you find the earplugs in your
Yes, I did.
anything later? And you're like, oh yeah.
Oh no. We have a real-time conflict happening in chat. I like ice hockey. I support the Penguins, says Connor. And Brooke, I don't believe supports the Penguins. Saying she can't.
It's because Brooke is clearly a fan of the Minnesota Wild. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not into hockey. I had a roommate who was from Minnesota, and so
Minnesota.
Who I would watch with sometimes, and he was all about the Wild. So I pretend I know something. I don't.
Brooke is probably a fan of the Florida Alligator Tears. That's not a real team. That was a dad joke. I'm not a dad.
Yeah, I mean, but you didn't go with crocodile tears. You went with alligator tears. I mean, alligators are inflated, but still, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same. I think. I was going for crocodile tears as well. It could work either way. Who do I support? I don't watch hockey anymore, but when I did, I supported the Colorado Avalanche. Raise his hand in North Westerner. Yeah. Okay, so here's Brooke saying the Capitals and Penguins are rivals. It's okay though. Dave Filoni is a Penguins fan too. So Brooke? Are you a supporter of the Capitals? First of all, that's a horrible hockey team name.
Here come the Capitals.
Like, we all know that it means capital cities, the capitals, like Washington Capitals, but like growing up I was like, is that team an ardent supporter of capital letters? Like, does it capitalize a lot? It would behoove the Capitals to capitalize on the momentum.
So what's funny is the Capitals like logo is all lowercase.
I have to look this up. Washington Capitals. That's so funny.
I just feel like I just missed the opportunity, you know. That's all.
Brooke says, but it works out because now there's also the Washington football team. Is it called the Washington football team? Is it? Choco, is it called the Washington football team?
Is it? I just looked up, and yeah, Washington football team is second in the NFC.
What is going on?
Well, because it was the Redskins, which is a problematic name, and I knew they were changing it, and I thought they were going to change it to something, and I guess
that's like
I
the
followed
interim
up
name?
everything that's not the Ravens. I dear God, I hope so.
Yeah, okay. It was just funny. It just struck me funny that like something could just be called generically football team, but I guess it is just the interim name until they actually rename it. Wow, that's pretty funny though. The Washington football team versus the
although I want to see people in the crowd who like paint letters on their chest and it just says football. Football.
Let's go football. Yeah. Brazilian soccer teams frequently are just called City Soccer Club. You know, I mean, but that's part of like the zeitgeist surrounding that league, right? Aren't they like the Manchester United? Like it's all just kind of like it's not like, you know, the, what is it called? LA, like the arena football, LA Galaxy.
Yeah, yeah. I always wonder about the who decides the themes for like cities, you know?
That's true. And
Like in Texas, they have a whole bunch of space themed names for like their, you know, the Houston Rockets and like the Houston. It's all space related stuff. I can't think of all the names right now.
Connor said, yes, I'm from UK and say soccer. Oh, I didn't even notice. But yeah, his team is Newcastle United.
Football.
It's similar to Europe. I forgot they had soccer too. Oh no, Cowboy Bebop. That got canceled.
You know what's, I watched the first episode and I didn't like it.
I liked it. The whole series.
I felt like they went a little cartoony with the acting, and it took me out of it in places.
Well, it is jarring, but you kind of have to give it room to kind of, you know, calibrate a little bit, because I feel like the first episode is always the pilot, and then the second and on is you know, them kind of finding the story and narrative, and because the rest of the series was pretty good. Do I like it more than the anime? No, but it was good, and I felt like since fans never got a season 2 of the anime, and the finale was twisted and adapted in a way where it was open-ended for the live action, that the fans could get a season 2 via the live action. And the only kind of semi-continuation that the fans of the anime have is the movie with Vincent. But still, like, having one, it's like Firefly. Cowboy Bebop fans have only one season and just like nothing else.
Yep. I almost wish that they had just done a second season in live action form.
Yeah, that would make sense too.
I'm not a big proponent for like, hey, let's tell the same story again. I know obviously it's new and adapted, and people who hadn't seen it before are going to see something new. And also, I do think that the anime Cowboy Bebop is of the older school of anime, where the storytelling is a little bit slower, and I don't think audiences nowadays would resonate with it as much.
It's more, it's older, and it actually it shares more in common with like Penny Dreadfuls, you know, and like those kind of serialized stories that they would release in the weekly paper. Mm-hmm. I do appreciate how close the live action was to the anime, with like a minimum amount of changes. But I do think in the end that just keeping so close to the anime was kind of what made it almost parody to a degree.
Yeah, maybe that's what I was feeling. All right, so what live action anime adaptations are good?
Rurouni Kenshin.
I will also toss another one in there. Erased. I enjoyed live action Erased.
I don't think I've seen the live action one.
Yep,
that's a watch along, I guess. I actually now this might be an unpopular opinion. I actually enjoyed the live action Bleach, and I feel like you should watch it since you haven't seen the Bleach anime.
Yeah, I saw the first couple episodes of the Bleach anime. Yeah, it just wasn't for me at that time. I wasn't ready for it. With the little, you know, stuffed animal bear thing running around, I had a high time.
But it's a movie.
Maybe
the live action is a movie.
Maybe I should give it another chance. Some of with the exception of Naruto, the big three, I had trouble with. I watched so many episodes of One Piece and never enjoyed it. I was just like,
Wow.
they tell me it's gonna get. You watch 4 episodes and nothing happened, and so I always chalk it up to like, okay, it's older, and it was just like a different pace. Yeah, I never
Kind of feel the same way with Gintama. I never really got into it. A lot of people swear by Gintama, and all the power to you guys. There are some anime that just kind of don't resonate with all types of people, you know? But I feel like we need to arrange a casual watch along of the Bleach movie for you and Cal. Because I think that was well done. Not as well done as Rurouni Kenshin, but I think it's not as like, it's not Full Metal. It's not bad.
And it's not Death Note.
No. It is
Dragon Ball
not.
Evolution.
It is not that at all. I think you guys will enjoy it. But I think that's a good time to wrap things up. We are severely out of time. We have exhausted all of the news in Star Wars. I believe if we've missed anything,
There was a lot of news.
there's
Sorry.
a lot more. Yeah, I mean, thank you guys so much for tuning in to episode 56 of Dyad in the Force. And here's a thank you to all of our members. Saint Pat, Kiosco Head Show, Grandmaster Bale, Harith Productions, DePaul, Mentally Ill Sith Lord. There is Kiki here that is not meant to be there. Nerd Connor, Gray, Levi Bond, Masa, Xcore Gamer Skills, Cal 4, Car2D2, Corellia Coffee Works, John Ski, Julia Christine, Xanatos 1138, Brian with the Beard, Brian with the Bread, Brian with the Beard Bread, Brian with the Bread Beard, Darth Choco, Aria L. I haven't heard from her in a while. I think she was taking a break, right?
Yeah.
And then we have a Star Wars Scholar, Star Wars Lawyer, B Dazzler, Brooke, Podwan's Podcast, Kenobi, Mabe, Mara J. Skywalker, Barikwa Wookie, Camilla, shout out to Camilla, Soda Man, Nedrext, and Steward of Ostaga. And every time I say that name, I must revert to that accent. Steward of Ostaga. But yes, thank you guys so much for tuning in. That is the end. On to the next one.
For light and for life.
We are all the Republic.
And make sure you like the stream if you haven't done it yet. May the Force be with you always.